So nearby Brad and Nisha, it's just me and Wiglet up here.
I really like your Wiglet.
You liking my Wiglet? It's a good Wiglet, isn't it?
How can you wiggle it?
Petting my Wiglet. Look at it. Just got my Wiglet. Anyway, let's talk about Niles Crane from the show Frasier. So Frasier is a show that has accomplished a pretty impressive feat in the world of syndicated television. That being, it's a spin-off that's arguably more popular than the thing it's a spin-off from. So, do you guys know that Frasier's a spin-off?
Yeah, it's
What?
Cheers.
one of them.
Yeah.
Cheers.
And Cheers is one of my favourite shows to like go back and look at, because you look at it and you go, Matt, do you know that thing like people just looked older back in the 80s and stuff? Mm-hmm. Like Cheers is one of those shows where I fully believe it. So I'm going to put in Norm from Cheers. He's like one of the most popular characters on the show. He's like, the resident barfly, and he's like, his whole shtick is that he's just a hapless loser who's just at the bar every single day. I'm going to show you a picture of him right now. I want you to tell me how old Norm is in this picture.
Early to late 40s was my guess.
28.
No.
So the actor who plays him is less than 30 in that picture.
No.
No, yeah. Yeah. That's Nisha's just like, no. No, he's not. No, he's not.
No.
Okay, now let's try, we're talking about Frasier today, so the actor who played him, Kelsey Grammer. How old do you think Kelsey Grammer is in this photo?
Oh. Again, like, sort of mid-40s.
I believe he's 28.
No.
I believe he's 28
Not
in that.
28 again.
He's less. I think Norm and him were 27 and 28 respectively in their first appearances. Well, I think one of the best ways I saw it summed up is if they made the Golden Girls today, a show about elderly women at the end of their life, all the actresses from Sex and the City could play it right now. So all the actresses in like Sex and the City, the revival, are about the same age as the actors were in the Golden Girls in its first season. Bringing it back to Frasier, while the show was a rating smash, its breakout star was nonetheless none too pleased about appearing in it, due in part to the fact it stopped him changing his name. So you don't know much about Frasier, do you?
The limit of my Frasier knowledge comes from the episode we did about Frasier's dog.
About his dog. Okay, so in Frasier, the titular Frasier Crane is played by Kelsey Grammer. His brother is played by David Hyde Pierce. Basically, the entire premise of Frasier is a direct contradiction to everything you learn about Frasier's character in Cheers. For example, he says that his dad's dead. And then in Frasier, the whole premise is that he lives with his dad.
Yeah, they have to cover it when someone from Cheers
turns up, Sam turns up and he says, wait, he told me you were dead. And Frasier's like, well, we had an argument, it was easier. What makes it weirder, though, is that the actor who plays Frasier's dad, John Mahoney, was in an episode of Cheers as a different character.
All right, the Cheers theme by Cy Flunga.
That's the thing, but they just didn't give a shit. Likewise, he also says that he's an only child, but then they bring in David Hyde Pierce to play his brother.
Dr. Niles Crane. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, yeah, you too. Wow. Man, this is freaky. He looks just like you did when I met you. What happened, huh?
And again, they went, well, you know what? Fuck it. No one cares about Frasier anyway. Let's just say he had a brother and he never mentioned it, even though he explicitly says, I'm an only child and my dad's dead.
A lot of consistency issues there.
There was, but besides that, they did try and maintain some pretty decent consistency within the realm of Frasier itself. And pretty much the entire reason, David Hyde Pierce was cast is that just one day a casting director was looking at headshots and saw David Hyde Pierce's headshot and went, he really looks like Kelsey Grammer in his Cheers days, which after looking at a picture of him on his appearance in Cheers, that'd be an insult, I think, these days. Because it was all said to me, because I'm 32 right now, and I look at that picture of Kelsey Grammer in his 20s, and I'm like, what the he looks older than my dad. He looks older than my dad now, and my dad's 50-odd.
It's just so weird. It's baffling. I think a lot of people think we look younger than we actually are. People don't believe I'm 31. I have to get my driving license out as proof. Yep. Stop stroking your wiglet.
I'll never stop stroking my wiglet.
You'll go blind.
That's the thing, but the producers were so blown away by just the physical resemblance between David Hyde Pierce and a young Kelsey Grammer that they went against the laws established by Cheers, because they're like, fuck it, we can't not cast this guy given how similar they are. And in a rarity for just writing a show, they decided to make Niles and Frasier basically the same character, because it's character writing 101 that when you're going to have two characters interacting, if you want them to have like sparks to fly, you can't have sparks and fire without friction. So generally you give them contrasting personalities or quirks. But Niles is basically just Frasier, just turned up to 11. So he's exactly as snooty, exactly as snobby, exactly as much of a hypochondriac. He's just a little bit less embarrassed about it. I think the way David Hyde Pierce himself would sum it up is, like, Frasier, like, has at least some self-awareness, Niles doesn't. And that's what makes him so endearing, that he just is 100% completely himself, and he doesn't realise how all the things he do make him like such a wiener.
I got a spark.
Me too. That's just static electricity from the carpet. It can happen to anyone.
And the fact that you've not seen it is kind of like frustrating, because David Hyde Pierce is so good on it, because he was the breakout star. Are you familiar with the term breakout star?
Yeah, it's the character or the actor you're not expecting turns out to be popular.
Yeah, so
like Barney Stinson.
Yeah, Barney Stinson was the breakout star of like How I Met Your Mother. I think like you have like Urkel from the Urkel show. It's basically a character they didn't anticipate would be popular, or as popular as they ended up being, and generally the show ends up being like rewritten to focus more on them. So, like, yeah, I think one of the most famous recent examples is Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory, where it was supposed to be an ensemble show, and some people were like, aha, that guy with Asperger's, he's sure funny. Bazinga, right? And it's like, oh god.
Bazinga. Bazinga. Bazinga.
It just became the Sheldon Cooper show. I get it.
We've got that spin-off, Young Sheldon.
Young Sheldon, which is apparently alright, but
I've seen some clips of it, and like, he just comes across as a massive bellend.
yeah.
That is the character, I guess.
And people like arsehole characters, but it's just one of those things, like, the breakout star of the show was, like, without a doubt, David Hyde Pierce, and they were like, we need to start writing more episodes that focus on him, because his delivery is so good on some of his lines, and hopefully there'll be lots of clips of he's just flawless delivery of just withering one-liners and put-downs and puns.
Oh, for God's sake, Frasier, don't waste your breath on this hairy, knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing troglodyte who's probably the only male in existence who suffers from penis envy.
When Nisha and I were walking here today, I was telling her about, I've been rewatching Prison Break, and there's some actors who just are so good in a role, you can't help but like them. But I feel really bad when that character is Teabag.
Yeah.
Because he's such a horrible, disgusting character.
Speaking of breakout characters, Teabag, right, played by Robert Nepper, I think, was undoubtedly one of the breakout stars of that show, because he's so unlikable and slimy in that first season, but then, because he's such a good actor, they kept bringing him back, and you can see the, like, people making the show tone down how much of a piece of shit he is.
Like, there's bits and pieces of it, but they try and give him a sympathetic backstory.
Yeah.
They have him make some good decisions. You start to feel bad for him, and you have to remind yourself that in the first few episodes you find out that he, like, murdered and raped a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
He's a horrible character.
Like, he is a mass murdering, serial killing paedophile. And that's why the joke we always make when we talk about Prison Break is, never forget that Prison Break went so off the rails, they gave a child molester a robot hand for that turbo molesting action. The best bit is, like, speaking of spin-offs, did you know there was a spin-off of Prison Break?
Was there?
Yes. You do not know about Breakout Kings?
What?
So there's a show called Breakout Kings, which was a spin-off of Prison Break that had, like, one season. And the gimmick is, it's a bunch of people who are in, like, life in prison who are prolific escape artists. And they keep escaping from prison, and they get given time off their sentence for helping them catch other people who broke out of prison. And they have an episode where Teabag's in it, and he escapes from prison just to go kill the person who, like, assaulted his mother, and then goes back to prison. And it's like, he breaks out of prison to kill someone, then walks back in. Like, the Prison Break universe is terrifying because nothing can hold criminals.
One of the funniest moments in the whole show is in season 3. Michael has been in Sona for like a week, and there've already been 2 escape attempts. And after the second one, the general who's in charge of the prison walks in. He walks right up to Schofield and goes, "Mr. Schofield, you've been here for a week, and there've been 2 prison escape attempts. What do you know about this?" He's like, "Nothing." It's like, you're obviously lying. You're Michael Schofield.
The thing is that I still think what they should have done for that is said he actually did die, but then he just broke out of hell.
Yeah, we talked about
the
this. The
fact that they never went, fuck it, Prison Break is now just going to go full supernatural. And we're just going to say, he actually, when they say, "I thought you were dead," I want you to do the Commander Shepard of I Got Better.
Shepard, but you're dead. I got better.
I did die, but then I just did a Kratos and just broke out of hell. And they could have had an entire season set in hell.
It would have been so good.
It would have been like, supernatural crossover. Sam and Dean turn up.
They could. That's the thing. The show is bordering on that anyway. When they have like the secret government agency that's like, oh, Michael Scofield's got like turbo super brain cancer, and like, oh, we've got a cure for that. It's like, what? Yeah, we've got a cure for turbo brain cancer. We had it for like 20 years, and I honestly was waiting for them to say they got it from alien shit. I was genuinely, if they would have said,
and then Michael Scofield has to break out of a spaceship.
I genuinely was like waiting for them when I saw that first time of like, are they going to say it's from Area 51? Are they going to say that and they're going to go after aliens? And they didn't, and I'm so disappointed. Anyway, bringing it back to Frasier. One of the like the things that like while Niles was the breakout like character on the show, and David Hyde Pierce, I think he was nominated for an Emmy every year the show ran, and he won like a bunch of times. It kind of annoyed him because it stopped him from changing his name. You know, thinking, why would it stop him from changing his name? Well, we've talked before about the rule when you become an actor in Hollywood. Like when you join the Screen Actors Guild, you are not allowed to have the same name as somebody else in the guild. And the same is true if you join Equity, the British equivalent. And when David Hyde Pierce joined, like his actual real name, which will be in a fat bar below, was taken. So he just like picked like his father's middle name or something like that and went by David Hyde Pierce. But he didn't like it because David Hyde Pierce sounds like really snooty. Like the double barrel surname does not do you any favours, does it?
So I'm guessing because the character matched the name, it meant that he couldn't change it.
That was the issue, yes. He wanted to just go by David Pierce, but he was advised, don't change it because David Hyde Pierce makes you sound snooty in real life and helps you, like, you know, be synonymous with your character, which was great while Frasier was airing, but was really annoying for David Hyde Pierce in real life because it meant that the roles he was being offered were very limited because they only wanted to play characters like Niles.
Yeah, Niles, we just eloped. I'm your new mom.
Oh. Well, I'll be a son of a bitch.
Even though he's a really good actor and has a lot of range.
We've got a list of callbacks for you, David Hyde Pierce. We've got a snooty lawyer. We've got a posh dickhead.
What makes him so good though is that the producers noted that we started writing more scenes for David because he was like the breakout star, but also he was really funny and not just like delivering lines, like physical comedy. He's so good at that. And there is a scene in like a later season, which hopefully we'll be able to put a clip in. I'll put like the video running alongside here. And it is a silent 3-minute long scene of Niles ironing his trousers. And that's it.
Where's the comedy?
Do you know like Mr. Bean?
Yeah.
It is up there with Mr. Bean sketches of like.
Does he make mistakes?
Yeah, that's the amount of shenanigans that go on is like bordering on Mr. Bean-esque. And the story goes is that like a producer told him, you get one take. It's on in front of a live audience. You can do this once. Do not make a mistake. Do not fuck it up. And David Hyde Pierce is like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And he nailed it first time. And like the audience and everyone behind the scene is absolutely creasing with laughter and he's not broken character. He walked off set and the producer said to him, you just won an Emmy. And he won an Emmy for that episode. Like, you know, partly for that episode. He's like, he's so good. He's so good. Just him. Like, I call it, it's just everything he does just looks hilarious. Like, he's one of those characters where all you need to do to like have something funny is just have him stand there.
Yeah.
And you know, like, an actor is a great physical comedian when just the act of them standing there makes people laugh. Well, with him, there's a recurring element of his dog lady, who's this really tiny whippet, and the joke is that his ex-wife, Maris, is this like impossibly thin. Like we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
She's like this impossibly thin lady who's like, you know, who's always like having
reptilian.
Yeah, having lots of like plastic surgery. And there's like loads of jokes about that. I think there's like a supercut on YouTube that's like 2 hours long of every joke they ever made about her. And like the joke is that he gets a tiny little whippet, and every single time him and that whippet are on set, you can see every other actor like they can't handle it. You see them like turning away from the camera because like they're laughing so much at just him being like, okay. It's like, come on, up girl. Okay.
Not on the couch. Off. Okay.
And like, do you have any favourite moments of like just like actors breaking character or like losing their shit over stuff like that? Because while you think, I'll mention the one for Lucas to put the clip in of, and it is in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, when Dennis just goes full sociopath on the two women, and he just turns like full on Commander Shepard, and he's like, "Did you not know that I invited you to my bar to bang you?" And you see, as like Glenn Howerton is like lining up to make the speech, you just see Charlie Day completely turn all the way around in frame and start laughing.
How did you not know that the reason I invited you back to my bar was to bang you?
My favourite one, I have to mention it, because it makes me laugh so much, is the one in Friends where
With the bagpipes.
the bagpipes. Ross trying to play bagpipes and Phoebe sings along. You just see Rachel or Jennifer Aniston just like trying so hard not to laugh. She's like, "Eee!"
And it's just a show that's like, like just so incredible and has so many good lines. For me, it's one of my comfort shows that I rewatch every year, and it's a shame that David Hyde Pierce was unable to escape from the shadow cast by Roastmaster Niles.
I dated a guy once who got in trouble with the cops.
Notice the complete absence of gasps following that statement.
So while I pet my wiglet, can we just talk about just funny shows and like moments that make you lose your shit? Because Frasier's one of those shows to me that I rewatch it all the time and it always makes me laugh. Like every line delivered by Niles is solid gold.
The label says it's famously spreadable.
Funny, Ross, doesn't your label say the same thing?
Is there any like shows like that for you where there's a character who just never ceases to make you crease?
I mean, like, there's moments in, like I mentioned, Friends. I've seen that so many times. So it's just always on.
Yeah.
It's just a comfort show. It's always on. I think one of the ones, like one of the episodes and scenes you don't see very often, and I forgot it was a thing, but it always makes me laugh, is, when I think it's Ross is on the phone to Emily.
Yes.
And he stood outside, and everyone inside's like, "Oh, I think the conversation's going bad." And Joey's like, "Oh no, I think it's going pretty well." It's like, "How can you tell?" It's like, you can like tell his expression from behind, and he's just like, "Smile,
Frown.
smile,"
From the back of the
and
head.
then Ross turns around and just see Joey just like,
Smile. Frown. Smile. Frown. Smile.
I think there's one for me, and it's the show Only Fools and Horses, which is another one of my another one of my comfort shows. And there's a moment in it where the character of Rodney is I forget the exact context for it now, but so the context of the show is it's two like East London wheeler dealers who live with their uncle. And like Del Boy, the main character played by David Jason, is like, I'm going to pretend to be I'm going to ask my brother Rodney. And I want you to act really surprised when he tells me that he's going out with another girl. Because like Rodney is like going out with a girl to like try and make his wife jealous. And the guy playing Uncle Albert just overacts so hard where it's like so he's like, Del's like, "So Rodney, what are you doing?"
He's like, "Not yet."
Yeah, and he's like, but the Buster Merrifield, who plays like Uncle Albert, keeps doing it. And you can like legit see David Jason, when he's telling to stop it, almost breaking character, which he very rarely does, because he couldn't deal with just how much
On your own? No? Going with someone? I'll whack you one in a minute, believe me.
It's so loud, and everyone else on set, you can see them trying not to laugh, and I love it.
Stop it!
Stop what? Well, is there something wrong with my Wiglet? My Wiglet plush? The thing is, though, people are wondering, like, why is he doing that? I'm like, I'm never going to tell you. Get one now. It costs the best 11 quid I've spent. I'm putting it in my window. I'm put it on display in my window. Everyone's going to like, look at this Pokemon fan. So that's what everyone thinks when they see this. You think, what a big Pokemon fan. He loves Pokemon.
Exactly, that's your first thought, yeah.
Look at it. Makes the microphone feel like insecure. Cheers, everybody.